Rain tapped gently against the tall glass windows of the crowded cafe, blurring the lights of the busy New York street outside. Inside, the air was warm with the scent of roasted coffee beans and fresh pastries. Conversations blended into a soft hum, people laughing, laptops clicking, baristas calling out orders. At a small round table near the window sat Claire Whitmore, the CEO of one of the fastest-growing tech companies in the country. Her phone buzzed constantly on the table beside her. Emails, investors, deadlines. Her coffee had already gone cold. Claire barely noticed. At 38, she had everything the world said success should look like. Wealth, power, recognition. Magazines called her a visionary leader. Business. Channels invited her to talk about innovation. But in that moment, staring at the rain streaking down the glass, she felt something else entirely. Exhaustion. Loneliness. The cafe was packed. Every table was filled, and people were standing near the counter waiting for seats. Claire barely glanced up when a soft voice spoke beside her. "Excuse me, would you mind if we sat here for a minute? Everywhere else is taken." Claire looked up. A man stood there holding a small tray with 2 hot chocolates. Beside him was a little girl, maybe 6 years old, clutching a tiny notebook and a pack of crayons. The man looked slightly embarrassed, like he hated asking. Claire hesitated. She had planned to finish her presentation alone, but something about the little girl's hopeful eyes made it impossible to say no. "Sure," Claire said quietly. "Go ahead." "Thank you," the man said with genuine relief. They sat down. The girl immediately began drawing in her notebook, her small legs swinging under the chair. The man slid 1 hot chocolate toward her. "Careful, Lily, it's still hot." "Okay, Daddy." Claire glanced up at that word. "Daddy!" The man noticed her looking and gave a polite smile. "Sorry if we're intruding. It's chaos in here today." "It's fine," Claire said. She tried to return to her laptop, but she couldn't help overhearing their conversation. "What are you drawing?" the man asked gently. "A house," Lily said proudly. "Our new one." The man chuckled softly. "Someday?" Claire's fingers paused on the keyboard. "Someday?" Lily asked. "Yeah," he said warmly. "With a big window, and a dog, and a kitchen where we can burn pancakes together." Lily giggled. Claire felt something tighten in her chest. It was such a small, ordinary moment, but it felt real. The man pulled out a simple sandwich wrapped in foil and placed it in front of Lily. "You eat first." "What about you?" "I'm not hungry." Claire noticed the lie immediately. Parents always said that when they were saving food for their kids. She tried to focus on her slides again, but Lily suddenly leaned toward her. "Are you doing homework?" Claire blinked. "Something like that." "What kind?" Claire thought for a moment. "I run a company." Lily's eyes widened. "Like a boss?" Claire smiled faintly. "Yes, like a boss." "Whoa." The man laughed softly. "Lily thinks every boss is like the ones in cartoons." "Are they not?" Claire teased. "Unfortunately, no." They shared a small smile. For a moment, the tension in Claire's shoulders eased. Then Lily asked something that made the entire table go quiet. "Daddy, when are you getting a job again?" The man froze. Claire felt the weight of the silence immediately. He rubbed the back of his neck. "Soon," he said carefully. "Very soon. But you said that last week." "I know." Claire pretended to check her email, but she was listening. Lily frowned thoughtfully. "Maybe the jobs are hiding." The man smiled gently. "Maybe. Then we just have to keep looking." Claire looked at him. Up close, she noticed things she hadn't at first glance, the faint lines of exhaustion on his face, the worn edges of his jacket, the careful way he made sure Lily always had more than he did. "Hard week?" Claire asked quietly. The man gave a small laugh. "Something like that." He hesitated, then added, "Lost my job 3 months ago." Claire nodded slowly. "What did you do?" "Construction management." "That's solid work." "It was," he said. "Until the company folded." Claire closed her laptop. For the first time all morning, she was fully present. "What's your name?" she asked. "Daniel. And this is Lily." Lily waved proudly. Claire smiled. "I'm Claire." They talked for a few more minutes. Simple things. Where Lily went to school. How Daniel used to build houses. How Lily wanted to be an artist. Then Claire's phone rang. Her assistant. "Claire, the investors are already in the conference room." Claire checked the time. She was late. Of course she was. She stood gathering her laptop. "It was nice meeting you." "Same here," Daniel said sincerely. Lily held up her drawing. "Look!" It was a picture of a house. A crooked little house with a huge window, and 3 stick figures inside. Claire pointed. "Who's that?" "That's me," Lily said. "And Daddy." Claire smiled. "And the third person?" Lily looked at her like it was obvious. "That's you." Claire blinked. "Me?" "You looked lonely," Lily said simply. The words hit harder than any boardroom critique. Claire didn't know what to say. Her assistant was waving frantically from the cafe entrance. Claire reached into her purse, pulled out a business card, and slid it across the table. "If you're still looking for work, send me your resume." Daniel glanced at the card, then looked back at her. His eyes widened slightly. "You're that Claire Whitmore?" Claire shrugged. "Sometimes," he shook his head, almost laughing. "Well, I guess sitting here was lucky." Claire looked at Lily. "Sometimes life works like that." Then she left. 3 days later, Claire sat in her office reviewing job applications for a new project her company had just launched, an affordable housing initiative in several cities. One resume made her pause. Daniel Carter, construction manager, 15 years of experience, led multiple community housing builds. Claire leaned back. The same man from the cafe? She remembered Lily's drawing. The crooked house. The big window. Without overthinking it, she picked up the phone. "Schedule an interview with Daniel Carter." When Daniel walked into the corporate office the next week, he looked slightly overwhelmed. Glass walls, skyline views, people in tailored suits. Claire greeted him personally. "You clean up well?" she joked. Daniel laughed nervously. "This place is something." They sat down. The interview lasted nearly an hour. Daniel spoke with honesty, humility, and a deep understanding of construction that impressed even Claire. But what struck her most was something else. His heart. "We weren't just building houses," Daniel said about his previous work. "We were building stability for families." Claire studied him. That was exactly what her new project needed. By the end of the meeting, she made a decision. "I'd like to offer you the position." Daniel blinked. "Wait, seriously?" "Yes." He looked stunned. "I don't even know what to say." "Say yes." "Yes." They both laughed. 6 months later, Claire stood on a quiet street in Brooklyn at the opening of the first housing development Daniel had managed for her company. Families were moving in, children were running across the sidewalks. Reporters snapped photos, but Claire wasn't looking at the cameras. She was watching Lily. The little girl was standing in front of one of the houses, holding another drawing. "Look," Lily said excitedly. Claire crouched down. The drawing showed a house again, but this one was bigger, brighter, full of windows. "Is this your new house?" Claire asked. Lily nodded. Daniel walked over, keys in his